Welcome back to episode 8 of the Heal Hot Girl podcast. I'm Samantha.
It's LB.
It's Jess, your wellness bestie. Welcome.
We're welcome you guys back to episode 8.
We're excited.
We are.
As
We're so
always.
happy to be back.
It's our favorite weekend.
It really is.
Some of my
And it's
favorite weekends.
beautiful this weekend.
Gorgeous.
Like
Shout out
I
to Buffalo.
really couldn't ask for a better every time we've been coming here, it's like, oh my God, do we need a parka or rain boots or shorts or like what? And this weekend it was like I didn't even pack a jacket really.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Agree. I mean, you guys look so cute. Okay, it's summertime fine.
Okay.
I clearly came like I was a little confused. I wasn't too sure what's the weather in the studio gonna be like, what's outside. But outside, the sun is shining. Okay, so here's your daily reminder to step outside today. Let the sun hit your face.
Ooh.
Okay.
Facts.
Yeah, the sun is magic. I love the sunshine. I'm a direct light plant. I don't know what y'all are. I'm a direct light plant though.
I don't know. I would just have to say maybe I'm a direct light plant. I think I thrive.
I think I thrive in direct light. Some people are like bright but indirect light. I don't know. I'm bright
No, I
direct
No,
light.
I love being
Yeah. When the sun is pointing at me, I'm like,
Be happy, right? Like it just there's
let
it
it
just
hit your face. I'm like,
yeah.
I know. I was telling Jess today, I was like, my pool at my complex, because it opens Memorial Day.
Ooh.
And I'm looking forward to like coming home from work and
just
having the
getting in the
option
pool.
to get in the pool. Like, because
Yeah.
the sun stays out. I get home from work like 4:30. I have at least 2 hours
Yeah, or more.
or more
Honestly.
of pool time.
Because it's gonna be hot. So, I mean, the
Hello.
sun might not be out, but it's gonna be really hot.
Yes.
and one thing
so.
about LB, she's gonna have her to-go cup.
you
Got my
gotta have it
book.
to go. They probably don't let you bring glass out there, right?
They
You
don't,
gotta
so you have
it
to
go
have,
cup.
like,
She
a
has her
tumbler.
listen.
I have a tumbler. I know. They don't let you bring glass. You gotta have a tumbler.
All right. Well,
Yes.
this week,
Yeah. What are we talking about?
a
this
hot
week?
topic.
It is a hot topic. Well, yeah.
It's a hot seat topic.
It is a hot topic.
But one thing about our podcast, we're gonna bring the hot topics to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's
So-
on the hot seat? Are we all on the hot seat?
I feel like at this point we're all on the hot seat every week.
Everybody's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But this week we're talking about platonic friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have them? Are they real? Because I was talking to someone about this today. Ashley, the girl who does my makeup, she was like, what are you guys talking about today? And I was like, platonic friendships. And she's like, I don't think I have the type of personality that can be friends with guys. And I was like,
What
that's
did she mean by that?
interesting. She didn't really elaborate. She just
Okay.
said she didn't think, just the way, doesn't have a lot of close relationships with guys. And she's like, I just think my personality doesn't really like gel with that. And I was like, I actually am on like the opposite end
Yeah.
because I almost feel like I get along better with guys.
I was gonna say the same
Same.
thing. I like connect more easily with men than I do women, and like trying to find friends in Nashville. Like my first friend was a guy, you know, like Atish. Like
We
and
love Atish.
we love
For
Atish so
president.
much. But so yeah, it's like I don't know. I have a lot of guy friends, and I think it's one or the other, right? Like you don't know. I feel like people are on two sides of the spectrum. You either have friends and you're okay with your significant other having friends of the opposite sex, or you're like you don't believe you can do it at all.
And that's really been like a hot thing in a few of my relationships is my friendships with guys. And I came into it like complete. I mean, I'm oblivious to a lot of things, let's be real. But one of them like was that. And to me, because in my head, they were always my friend. Like I didn't look at it as anything more than that. But then when I would date people, they would have comments or things to say about me being friends with guys. And I'm just like, what do you mean?
I feel like when I was like younger, that was a thing where like you have male friends, like. But to your point, I've always felt like I was much more of a guy's girl. I went through a period of like I went through a tomboy stage. So like I was always with the guys.
When were you a
Yeah.
tomboy?
I know. When was
I
Jessie a
don't-
tomboy? I want to know. Maybe it was her basketball days.
Yeah, listen, I have my friend that I told you that I had reconnected after like 15 years.
yes,
Was
yes.
like, yo, Jess, I remember sweats, like baggy, like I would go to
Wow.
a mess. Anyway, but now as an adult, I just feel that it's just so important to just have male friends as a woman in general. And I think that you can absolutely have platonic friendships. I have experienced, I wouldn't say as an adult, but like in college, of like friends trying to like kick it just to see, like
There are definitely those guys, right?
sure.
Who
The
will
line
like,
steppers that are gonna be like, put one
Yeah.
pinky on this side, see what she
Like, let me
test
see,
the
let me
water.
test it.
Yeah.
Dip my toe a little bit.
they're fine being friend zoned until they get
for
their
sure.
opportunity.
But I do. But there's also something about male energy as well. Like, I like having my male friends be like, "Yo, you look bad as fuck today," and me not feel that friend is really trying to come on to me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, no, this is the one. But then also just male perspective. Like, so yes, I do feel that platonic relationships can exist. I do also feel that there are cases in which the water is going to get tested.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it. I know a lot of women have experienced it, but it then adds just another layer to complexity to the relationship, because at the end of the day, if you get lit one night, maybe, or maybe not, it could be we could have an experience together. I think, yeah. And you kind of know.
I think you know,
absolutely
like,
know.
which friends of
Yeah.
guy friends that you have that would take it there and
Yeah,
ones that
for
wouldn't.
sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
For
Like,
sure.
and I'm like la-di-da. But like, I didn't always like think that. But then I had a boyfriend when I was in like mid-20s, and he was like, Alyssa, you don't think that if the time was right, you guys are both drinking, you don't think he will hook up with you? And I was
I'm like, no.
no.
Never.
What do you mean? Because I'm looking at it from my perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then, like, as I got older, I was like, okay. Like, and I feel like sometimes it's the way the friendship was cultivated can determine that, like, piece of it, right? Because if you, let's say you meet somebody, like you said, Sam, right? Maybe on a dating app or something, but it doesn't work out in a romantic way, but you become friends. I think that leaves the door open a little bit more, because you're not really starting the basis of the friendship on like a genuine.
Yeah, you're sort of like, you're attractive.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like you're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
That's how you guys even got to know each other, right?
Right.
Whereas, like, again, I have a lot of male friends from home, but we all just grew up together. We're in the same spaces. Like, I knew their girlfriends. So it was a little bit more of like an even playing field, because the start of the friendship wasn't based off of a connection, like a romantic connection. So like those ones, I feel like there's a possibility that you could always like, it could happen if it's more of like you're coming from a space of like, we liked each other at one point.
Yeah.
I feel
You
like
know?
women are able to some degree control that piece in platonic relationships, like in the sense that I feel that in any kind of current platonic friendship, if a woman was to dip her toes, I feel that a man is absolutely going to receive it.
True.
He
Oh,
will.
yeah.
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 We're
That's a good
taking
point.
it. We're taking it there.
Yeah. And I also think,
To the moon.
yeah, yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
That's a good point.
I think the guys will go with what you let them. But there's also, I also feel that I have like some male friends who wouldn't take it there. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Just like,
absolutely.
we're
Definitely.
just,
clear cut.
we're
Definitely.
platonic, you know?
100%,
Like, I've got a lot of
100%.
male friends like that.
100%.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm grateful for them. But I know it can be hard for dating purposes. Like, it's one of the things I always bring up. Like, when I'm getting to know someone, like, do you have female friends? Like, great, I have male friends. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter I need to know how you feel, because we're not going to work out if you feel
for
some kind
sure,
of way.
yeah.
But, like, ultimately, you know, like, let's get that out of the way now, because if that's going to be an issue for you, baby, you are going to be upset.
No,
like,
no.
I got guy friends,
Yes,
you know?
that are not going anywhere.
Yeah, you have to have, like, at this big age, you have to have male friends. Men should have female friends as well. I think it becomes more of a bigger conversation and a thing when all of a sudden they're new friends, you know, that are appearing. But like, your core is your core.
Yeah.
And I want to see how you're maneuvering around certain people.
Yeah.
And like Drake said, I know them type of hugs. Yeah. I know them type of hugs.
Yeah.
I've given those hugs. That's a weird hug to
That's
give.
okay.
Yeah. You know what, though? I think, too, the important piece of it when you're dating someone, though, and you're trying to navigate your relationship with your male friendships or your friends of the opposite sex, is it's up to you as the person who maintains both relationships to make your partner feel comfortable with them. You know what I mean? because I feel like that's the piece that a lot of people miss. Is like, oh well, it's like I'm okay with you having female friends, but like, am I okay with them calling you at 2:00 in the morning and you staying out all night with them and like this is a repetitive no. Who's no.
Yeah, that's not a platonic
That's
friendship.
not a platonic
Platonic, in case y'all need an updated definition.
Is there an actual? I want to look this up.
Please
really
look it
fast.
up. We need
Dictionary.
Like,
Merriam-Webster.
Is
No,
there
but
an
Sam-
actual like platonic? I should go to Urban Dictionary.
No,
They got
please do.
everything in
While
there.
whilst LB is on Urban Dictionary, please continue. Let the people know because
Yeah, I forgot where I was going with it.
we did get a little sidetracked here.
Well, you were saying about platonic relationship when you're in a okay. All right, this isn't how I thought we were going with this, but fine. When you're in a relationship with someone, but you don't have any love in quotations, you don't have any love feelings for each other. Here's an example. Parker and I are in a platonic relationship. The other person, so you're friends. Me, no, we're in a relationship. It's the same as a normal romantic relationship, just with fewer feelings. Our attraction is somewhere in between friendship feelings and love feelings. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
that
now
just regrounded.
I'm
Okay,
confused.
all right, y'all. So platonic.
Oh wait. Okay, here's another one. All right, they'd give you multiple. Grace, who entered Emerald Grace from August 3rd, 2011. Incorrect. No, that is not a platonic relationship.
Thank you.
Platonic relationship contains no romantic or sexual interest.
Period.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I was saying, I think I've been in situations where the person sort of made me feel bad, like I was smothering them for having questions about, like, you can have
For sure.
female friends, but why are these female friends calling you at 2:00 in the morning?
No.
Like, that's problematic. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a thin line, but I think as the person, again, who is like in both, you want your partner to like your friends and your friends to like your partner, and it's up to you to facilitate that.
Sure. And I think discretion, right? Like, we have friends and we have male friends who are in relationships. And so, like, there are times, like, I do the pulse check because when we're out, I'm the type of person, like, I'm going to reach out.
Like a text?
I'm going to call. No, I'm going to FaceTime you. Like,
Oh,
if
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
out-
yeah.
if
No,
I'm
that's
out
true.
And
That's
a song
true.
reminds me of
Yes.
you. Or if
It could be
there's
1 in the morning and Jess might be out, but we'll call you and be like, just to say hi. Like,
Just-
nothing.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about you. This shit just popped
Yeah.
up. Hold on, share this moment with me, please. Like,
Yeah.
And so I have like that 2 a.m. kind of thing. I'm like, man, I've definitely have called my male friends like, you're.
Yeah.
So what's up? What's happening right now? Or like, we're lit. Everything's cute. But it not always considering the fact, are they with their partner?
Yeah.
Right.
But guarantee that if they did get that call, the partner, I'll be like, what's up, girlfriend?
Right,
Like, we could have a throuple on FaceTime real quick.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah.
No, I think that is a good point. I think that Sam saying that, like, it's kind of your responsibility to, like, facilitate the relationship. Because I have one male friend that I've been friends with. I mean, we did date when we were in high school, but, like, we're 34 years old at this point. So, like, we were very far removed from that. But we had struggled throughout our friendship because he would have girlfriends, but never really took the time to, like, cultivate the relationship or even introduce me or anything. So from the girl's perspective, it's like, well, why? Like, what is it
What
that,
is it with
like,
the list
you,
that-
yeah, like, you don't invite her when we go do stuff. Like, you don't call, you know what I mean? Like, it was almost just like, why do you, like, hide her a little bit, but then at the same breath, like, want to say that's like your best friend.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I would try, but at that point, it just would come off as, like, disingenuous because it's like, they don't want to hear that from me. You know what I mean? They want to hear that from their partner.
Yeah.
And I just think that we could have avoided so many disagreements within our friendship and really it put strains on our friendship because we couldn't, I felt restricted. It was like, I didn't feel comfortable
So
calling.
true.
I didn't feel comfortable asking him to do something. I was the one that even offered, but he just, like, never really facilitated the relationship. So I think it is really important to, like, however that looks, everyone has their own thing. You'll figure it out, whatever works for you. But also I think because I have been guilty of it too, though. Because in my head, it was just, again, I just never land. But, like, I just think of it, I know what it is in my head.
Yeah.
So I never really felt like I had to take the time to, like, explain it. Like, I remember I was dating someone, like, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was Weeze's birthday, actually. like his last birthday, which in hindsight, I didn't know that at the time, but
Yeah.
like he lived in Ohio. And so I used to go on my days off to visit him in Ohio. And I was coming home early to go to Weeze's birthday. And I didn't invite him to come back with me, which in hindsight, like I should have. But like I didn't care. I was like, oh, I'm leaving early. Like I'm going back for Weeze's birthday. And we got into a huge argument about it because he's like, why are you leaving? Like, this is a guy, like just not like understanding. And I'm like, well, fuck you. Like this is my
Yeah.
best friend. Like literally me and Weez couldn't have been more platonic. So it was just like, I don't care. But then like in hindsight, and when I think about it later, I was like, I could see why he would have been upset with me because it wasn't even that. I could have simply just asked him to drive back to Buffalo with me and come to. He didn't even have to go,
Right.
but it was just more so
Would
like
you
the
wanna
offer.
join them?
Yeah, and I just didn't. I was like, peace.
And not
gotta
only
go.
that, but you're leaving him to go there.
And we don't live in the same city,
Yeah.
so we only get this time together every week. And so like, and I was calling off work. I think I was like, I was supposed to go back, and then I extended.
That was also, yes, that could have been a moment where the invite could have been extended. But I also feel like from a male perspective, like,
What?
dude, you're a little too, you're being
Oh, he was definitely and it never had to turn into that.
a little sensitive. You
It
know what I
never
mean?
had-
Like it's so much bigger in a sense. Because again, one thing that I feel that's established early on is you have core friends and you've been friends with these people for a long time. I met you. I didn't just meet you. I met you plus 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actually,
like,
16.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
really.
Like literally,
we real deep.
I spent every single weekend at y'all's house on Prospect.
Yeah.
Like this was a thing. And so I don't know. I just feel like when it comes down to the gang, the crew, it's out. We're out. So if there is a commitment and if we need to show up, it's happening. You know, dear future person, we gotta go. I extended my trip the last time. My friend was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Well, actually, my friend made a request."
Yes. Yeah. Facts. And I think that's. Do you guys think that your relationships, your friendships, will change once you get into serious relationships? Like, do you think that these relationships that you have now, of course, will always be our friends, but do you think as we move closer to like marriage and things like that, that those relationships do have to be altered? Like, do you think that that's a fair thing to say, or?
I think so. Earlier today, I posted that clip of OJ just saying like, we're at the age where you're looking for your significant other and they're gonna have their kids are gonna have families, whatever. And you know, there's a period where like it becomes quote unquote like lonely, but that was a whole other point. I feel that I think coming just from a side of like being so relationshipy, when I think back about it, the availability and the accessibility becomes less. And I think there's layers to it, because if I'm living alone and I'm not living with my partner, my accessibility is a little bit is kind of the same in a sense, like meaning that you can reach out to me.
Right.
You know, I won't feel uncomfortable you giving me a call at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever the case may be, because 9 out of 10 times it's for some nonsense. And really the only people who are bypassing it are those on my favorite, because my phone's on do not disturb. So if you're privy to who's on that list and you know that I'm gonna get a call from them, they're the only ones, like whatever, just know if I'm answering at that time, it's because of that. But point is, it does add layers if you're not living with someone. If you're living with someone, then yes, the accessibility begins to, obviously you got to bring that down a little bit. I can't just pop out. And I think it also depends on where you are, where you're trying to take this relationship, right? Like slowing down as part of this big age and maturing and adulting is also, we're turning it up, but we also have to begin to slow down to position ourselves to build our future families and what that kind of looks like. And those are kind of boundaries and expectations and just access that has to get modified as that next chapter of your life starts. So, yeah.
What do you think?
I was going to say the same thing. Not that like I think they have to change, but like organically they change because you can't be outside every weekend. You can't prioritize. Like right now, I can prioritize whatever I want. If it's my friends, if it's like, you know what I mean? Because it's just me that I have to think about. But at some point, especially when you do want to take it to that next level, you do have to consider another person. And so, yeah, you're not going to be as accessible and as available. And I think, especially once you start throwing kids into the mix, us as women, right, are often primary caretakers too. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we lose availability and accessibility, like just naturally too. It's like life just sort of changes. But I hope that our friendship never changes, and like the love, and I don't think it will. But yeah, like
it'll be more like planned reunion, planned
Yeah.
meetups, planned vacations, like definitely.
Showing up for each other's events, and you know what I mean. I think that will continue.
And I think because I even do that now, like with my friends, like or my male friends, I give them space. Like when I know that they're in a relationship or they're pursuing somebody or they're like, it's all love. Like,
for sure.
I want you to be happy. Like, I want you, I whatever it works for you guys, basically. Like, I am, like, secure enough in my friendships where, like, I know that we're friends. And I also understand that at this time, like, you're just not as available. And I also think as we get older, all relationships change, not just platonic friendships. To your point, Sam, I think, you know, you end up spending more time with this person. You're prioritizing that relationship. So I think sometimes when you get into a relationship, especially in the beginning, I think it evens out, you know, as you go. But I don't think it's unusual in general, for your relationships to, I don't say the back burner, but, you know, you're just not available as often when you're cultivating those relationships. So I think the main thing is just, if you're really friends, is like you understand that and you give them the space to grow the relationship that they want to. Because let me tell you.
No, literally.
The things that have been said about me for having so many male friends is also crazy. Like the amount of rumors I've heard about myself is the fact that I have so many guy friends, like people think I'm like, you think I've had sex with all of them? That's crazy.
Insane.
Like, what do you guys think is going on? Like the amount of like rumors I've heard about like who I'm dating or what I'm doing, I'm like, this is absurd. Especially like, cause when I was in it, I didn't think so much about it, but like over the years, as I've met other people outside of it, like, oh, I always thought I heard this and I heard this. And I'm like, you heard what? And it's also just so sad that it's like there has to be this connotation, as if like you're this. I don't even know what you want to call it.
But I also know lately I've encountered men, or just like have had conversations, because not encountered. These are people that I've known, but where they're just expressive, where they prefer to be around women. They prefer female friends over male friends for the same reason that like I feel we just can resonate a little bit to some degree with like just male aura, you know? Like I think there's a sense of, what is it? Sometimes female relationships can be a little too catty, or you know, just so it's heavy on the personality. And as I've gotten older, I don't really click with a lot of people. I used to be so social. Everyone's my friend. Everyone's my friend. And I've become so much more introverted and like a little resistant on onboarding new people, because that's what it is.
Onboarding is hilarious. That's a great
Gotta
term.
get you up to speed.
Yeah, like let's see if you can really. Are you like cut for this?
Yeah.
But I agree with that. I mean, especially with moving. I've had to. You have to make friends, right? Like that's kind of a thing. But becoming friends with somebody at this big age is like hard. And I think that it's just easier to vibe with guys sometimes because I don't know. It's hard. I agree with you. It's hard to find like women that you can trust, that have your best interest at heart. There isn't like some sort of like ulterior motive. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's just really hard to find.
And I think even now it's like it's not necessarily even seeking for like I don't need a best friend. I got my sisters. I got, you know what I mean? We're good. I'm
just looking for some
clear
solid
here.
people.
Just people, and I feel that now it's just more so like people who I can share certain common interests with. Now at that point, I don't need the friend to. I have my friends.
Yeah.
Just more so the person like I know who's the perfect person that we can come and we can extend the invite and it'll curate the vibe, elevate the vibe, good time. Or there's a common interest or project at a point where like now it's like, how can we come together, work together to like do something? I feel that that's the type of connections that now I'm like, all right, I'm more open to, less resistant, and come to the onboarding of like being a part of my everyday life now.
I had to, I think, because I've been in Nashville now 4 years, and I think I've gone through a bunch of different like journeys of like feeling lonely and then feeling like, you know, like I miss my friends and like, you know, like maybe I need to create new friendships to like, you know, help fill the gap because I'm, you know, I'm out in Nashville by myself.
Right.
And I think it almost made me more lonely actually, looking for friends in Nashville. And I found a few, but even still, sometimes it made me more lonely because even though they were good friends and good people, it wasn't, you know, like
It's not the people.
it's not my people. Like,
Yeah.
and I think I had to come to terms with the fact that like the relationships are going to be different. Like I'm not going to find a 20-year friendship overnight. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. And I had to come to terms with I'm not the friends that I have are my friends. Like, and like I can make new friends, but I had to come to terms with the fact that it wasn't going to be the same. And I had to appreciate what they were bringing to the table, these other friends, even though it wasn't what I was like looking for. You know what I mean?
I resonate with that.
No, that's such a good point. It's just funny that you said that. My grandfather yesterday was my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. So my whole family got together. Yeah, so beautiful. And I was talking. I haven't seen my grandparents in almost a year because of the blizzard. Well, actually, no, they didn't come home for Christmas this year, but they live primarily in Florida. They only come home for the summers. Anyhow, so I was just catching up with my grandfather, who's 94 years old. So I literally take everything he
Shout
says
out to
as like
grandpa.
Yes,
For real.
it's like amazing. But he's just full of so much wisdom that anything he says, I like want to put a tape recorder up to him and just like tape him because like all he does is drop gems.
Yeah.
Like just because when you think about it, 94 years on this earth
You've
wild.
lived a long life.
You know what I mean? Like, yes. So anyways, I had mentioned that part about just navigating friendships and that thing. And he said something about along the lines of your expectation. He said, your expectation might be too high. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're looking for a 20-year friendship in somebody you just met. And he's like, that's just really not fair to put on them to, you know, cultivate this friendship with you that took you 20 years to build. It's just not realistic. And I was like, damn.
Grandpa, 94
Yeah.
wisdom.
He was like, take them for what they have to offer you. Like, it doesn't have to be this years long friendship. I mean, it can, or take them, you know, maybe you bond on this thing, but not another thing.
Yeah.
So it's just more so adjusting your expectation of what a friend would be, because I'm so used to, before moving there, I was with my best friends all of the time. So it's definitely been different, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that that's a good point. It's just adjusting expectations when you're older. Making friends as an adult, man or woman, is hard.
Yeah.
Especially in another city because we all didn't grow up the same. That's another thing I realized is when we left this area, yes, maybe we all come from different families, but we grew up in the same place. So a lot of just mannerisms, commonalities, where we grew up. There's points that you can meet at, basically. But when you're out of town, you're meeting people from all over the country, sometimes all over the world, that have different experiences as you, grew up differently than you, talk differently than you, like different things than you. And so I think that was a culture shock a little bit for me.
You touched on that a couple episodes ago. But we had emphasized just like Buffalo culture, and the thing is, it's that although you guys even went to like different schools or whatnot, when it came down to like being together and just the outings in general, like there's something so beautiful about friendships in Buffalo, like the true friendships that you can see, because everyone is constantly supporting each other at their events. Everyone, like literally, you decided to curate a clothing line, someone on the team is gonna have it on, you know, like
absolutely.
the check-ins, the outings at prospects, etc. So to your point, like leaving that and not having that, you know, coming from being raised in New York, I went to the same school with my friends, well, like my elementary school friends, for 8 years. But then it was time when it was time to go to high school, we all dispersed.
That's crazy to me.
You know what I mean? And so like Chloe, now more suburban, the people that you go to, you know, K with,
Yeah.
middle school with, high school, you guys are all
That's how I
doing
grew
this
up.
together.
K through 12, I went to the same school.
So different for me. So having to kind of meet like new people and like establish kind of like different friend groups in some degree, it kind of, I think the structure in New York kind of forced you to, all right, well, we're not resonating here. Like when I went to school in Westchester, they were like, Jess, what's good with you? You just did a 360. And I was like, this 914 shit, girl. I went from Bronx
It's
to
different.
914. Like I have to adjust. So there's a lot of people there that, you know, I stick out. I do. But anyway, point is, it's just, you establish that so early and it follows you throughout even your adult life.
Totally.
That when it's time to leave cities like this, for you to fulfill your purpose or work or just bounce because you want to, it's nothing's gonna compare
like
to
this.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to it.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to it. Have you guys ever had a platonic friend turn into someone you dated, or like a boyfriend, like someone that you kind of like had a long friendship with and then turned into an actual relationship?
Yes. Yes.
What about? Let's talk about it. How'd it go?
I know. I was like, who's gonna answer this one first?
Well, I don't think I really have though.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't think I've really, I feel like most of the people I have like, and this is the thing with the guy group that I think a lot of people didn't realize, I did not touch that pool. Like I kept my friendships always very separate than my relationship. I've never dated like really any of my male friends. Some of them maybe late, like we dated and then like I said, like high school.
Yeah.
But like I've never had like a close male friend that became that like.
Well, this is a little, I think the
She's
closest.
like, you know him. I'm like,
No, because now I'm like, now taking it back to the platonic definition. Does this fall under platonic? I don't know. But the closest thing or person that I can think about, and once I like start storytelling, you'll like pick up on it.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that this person and I were like best friends in the sense that we were in constant communication. But when I was in a relationship, and so loyal Betty over here.
Loyal Betty.
So, you know,
That's
it
a new
was
one.
of
Loyal
those
Linda,
thing-
maybe? Can we go 2 L's? Loyal Betty sounds crazy.
Loyal Linda. I like Loyal Linda.
Loyal Linda, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Loyal Linda. Anyway, it was one of those things where like I was in a relationship, but I knew that again, he's gonna dip his toe in the water. And so he did try to dip his toe in the water, but I was very like, no. I'm in a relationship. We can't do this. Like, we can't explore that piece kind of thing. And we just maintained contact throughout like the years and just good conversation, nothing crazy. It never ended up going there. And then it went there. And I think when it went there, that was the catapult to us even exploring dating. And we did. We dated for about, it felt like almost a year. I think we dated about almost a year.
I'm over here doing mathematician. I'm like,
I think so. I feel like we ended up exploring dating. And you know what? We should have probably left it at just friends.
Yeah.
oh, actually, okay.
Yeah, I think we should have just
Definitely should have left it at just
left
friends.
it as friends.
Yes.
And that part is tough.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that. It's like, do you need to explore it? You know, maybe not. But I'm glad to some degree that I did, because it did teach me something.
Yeah.
Out of everything. Everything is to teach.
As long as there was a lesson
There's
learned
definitely-
somewhere.
What was the
in there.
lesson?
I will
Good
say,
question.
well, one is definitely, it's okay to wonder.
Wonder?
Yes, wander.
okay to wonder.
It's okay to wonder.
It's
but
okay to wander too, but continue.
and not need to know. I will say that just even appreciating friendships for what they are,
Yeah.
and not necessarily the idea or vision of anything else. I feel like that's why it's called platonic. The moment that there's a sexual piece to it,
Yeah.
component to the relationship,
Changes
that kind of it
completely.
changes. And
Yeah.
I really just, the friendship was such a beautiful friendship, that the moment that now when things end, right, it ends for a reason, and now there's a shift in our dynamic. We
Yeah.
can't just go back to just being friends, you know, like
Yeah.
You can't.
buddy. It's
No.
so
Yeah.
it's that's
Yeah.
so
Can't,
difficult.
yeah.
So then it's like you also have to be okay with having to let that relationship go, and the fact that that relationship in itself is going to change.
Yeah.
Always a lot of love, but yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's worth it, y'all. Stick to your platonic shit.
Yeah.
Don't, don't do it.
I was gonna say the
Don't
same
do-
thing. I have dated people that I've considered friends, and I feel fortunate to still consider one of these people my friends today. I don't know if we consider platonic. I don't know what it is, but we're friends, and I'm
Yeah.
just happy to have that relationship
When he
back.
looks at you, does
Girl.
Well, he too, girl, because that's what I'm saying. Because I know
Okay,
you already know what it
That's
looks like.
winking, right?
Baby, you already know what it looks like. So when you're looking at me, you know.
But here's the thing, I think, at least for whatever reason, and I know I was a big piece of it, we didn't work out at the time. And I think it did hurt our friendship. But at the same time, us cultivating sort of a little bit more than a friendship, I think we got a lot closer than we would have been. Like, we just shared different things than we would have if we would have just stayed platonic friends. And I think the beautiful part of that now is that we are friends again. We were able to, like, rekindle things. But for a while, we didn't speak. I mean, you remember being at Flow with me? Like,
Yeah, that's hard. No, it's
you
really,
know, like,
it
it's like there were feelings that, like, I had my feelings about it. He had his feelings about it. And then it made it hard to come around because it was like, I didn't want to, like, be in that situation, you know what I mean, where, like, either of us feel uncomfortable, like, we're friends, like, that sucks. Like, I don't want to be uncomfortable around my
Yeah.
friends. I don't want them to.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel fortunate that we got to the place that we did, but it wasn't without work and it wasn't without, like,
Yeah,
you know,
Communication.
for sure.
but also a period of time where we just didn't speak.
Yeah.
Where we just couldn't speak because, like, you can't just bounce back and be friends
sure.
again. Like, and I still don't know, like, would I consider us platonic friends now? I don't know,
Yeah.
but, like, but I
Yeah.
love the relationship that we have, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And, like, I feel fortunate that we were able to get that back because that would have been so sad to lose.
It's so tough. And even just like when it's time to let go of certain relationships or just even the shifts, like those are difficult. That's why I say, like, man, I really appreciated the time, and also even exploring the other side was just as beautiful too. But having to adjust, or with the possibility of, like, no longer, like, at this big age, it crushes my heart that the fact that we can share so much with someone, even just in a friendship or platonic relationship, exploring whatever the fuck it is, but we can share so much, and then in a blink of an eye, like, over something, we're done. Like, I don't want to hear from you. Like, this is some shit that's like, I'm like, man, we got to start giving each other a little bit more grace, because everyone's kind of journeying through this and trying to figure all of this out. But the good ones.
I think in my instance, I think the space did allow that time, because you got to feel your feelings about it. We both had our feelings, and I think we were both sort of, like, in our feelings about it until eventually it was like, you know, once time kind of heals all or whatever. So some time
believe that
between it,
shit.
yeah.
I don't believe that shit either.
You put some time
Bullshit.
between
Time
some
don't heal
stuff.
shit.
Yeah,
No.
but you
But
put some
sometimes it does.
does.
Sometimes
but
it
you
does.
put some
No,
time
it does.
between
No, it
stuff,
does,
and
it
the
does.
sting leaves for
Yes.
something.
You just needed
Yes.
some
No,
time
you
apart.
do.
Everyone just,
Yeah.
your feelings are hurt.
No,
you know?
100%.
So you
And
just
so-
need some time to regroup. Get
And I
over
think-
that shit and regroup.
And then, right, once you regroup, it was like, all right, now we can speak about it from a place,
Yes.
from a healed place,
For
not from,
sure.
like, a place where I'm
Yes.
in my feelings and in my
For
ego,
sure.
and you're in your feelings and
In
your
your
ego.
ego.
Now we're like, all
Absolutely.
right, what happened?
No.
Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, you can just have, and, like, almost, like, laugh about it a little bit. Like, damn, I fucked up, didn't I? That was, like,
For
you
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. That was,
that's why I just really, I'm so sensitive. I'm a sensitive thug. But I really am, like, I don't know. To your guys' point, I think some of my friendships, I know the minute we cross that line, it will never go back to being what it was. No matter, even if we try to come back at some point, even if either it's gonna go great and we're gonna get married and be together forever, or it's gonna not be great. And I'm always just so worried about how it's gonna go on the back end that I just am too scared to even, like, try. Even though they say I do believe, like, a friendship is fundamental in,
I
like,
know.
relationships. I feel
I
like
do
you have to marry, but
too.
you hear that all the time. I marry my best friend,
Yeah.
and I do think that that's important.
I'm looking at my male best friend.
Well, some of them we've had like pacts. Was like, all right, if we're not married, I mean, we thought we were gonna be married by 35 for sure.
Pretty sure
Because
we had
like
a
years
pact for this
ago,
age.
yes, because a few of my friends, it's like
the-
if we're not married by 35, like we're gonna get married, and 35 is knocking on the door, and I'm like, not yet.
I'm not marrying any of you.
I don't wanna get, no,
Not yet.
but I think that's for me why I just for me and I think I recently ended it was more of a situationship. It really wasn't like a friendship, but we disguised it the entire time as a friendship because it was, you know what I mean? It was long distance. So we were friends because we were not in an official relationship. And we talked about a lot of things at times about other people we were dating, but we were still dating in some ways. Like we still would like had our own relationship, but kind of understood what it was. And like when I ended it this most recent time, it was really because I was like, we're disguising this whole thing as a friendship, and it's not a friendship. Like we can't be friends.
Yeah.
The bottom line is like, even though we are such good friends, we
We're
just
good
can't.
friends
We need
under
to
the
call a spade a
context,
spade.
yeah,
Yeah, and in
of
that
a romantic
situation,
relationship.
yeah, like we've had relations, we've been in each other's lives. We've known each other for 12 years, but been dating on and off for we've been in each other's lives the last 6 years. Yes, we knew that we were dating other people, but we always had a connection. And I think in that situation, I was like, we need to stop lying to ourselves and stop acting like this is this like great friendship. Like wanted to travel as friends this summer. I'm like, you're drunk.
Like, can we go to Martha's Vineyards together?
Guys also have this
Are you
like
crazy?
this like
As friends.
As friends,
and then
can we take a 4th of July trip to Martha's Vineyard
so you
as
can be my my closest friends
that
and
I
family.
already know because I've been around them already. So like,
As
let's stop
friends.
doing this fucking
Yeah.
bullshit. Like this
Yeah.
is dumb.
Yeah.
Like at this big age, like 6 years ago, I was going along with it because it was fun. But like at this point, it's detrimental to me because I am not able to cultivate relationships that I really want to be in because I have this person that is my best friend, but like also we have this like romantic aspect to our relationship, and I'm like, we need to stop acting like we don't.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in male relationships, like you have to be honest about what it really is. Like you definitely have some platonic friendships, but you also have friendships that are not. And like we try to disguise it sometimes or tell ourselves we're just friends. Girl.
We're not
Yeah.
just friends.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think it's also important to some degree that folks, we acknowledge that people do live in a state of delusion.
that's me. 3 blind mice. Live in a state of delusion. Yeah, like we don't really know. All right. Should we pull some cards? We haven't
let's
pulled
do
any
it. We
cards
have
today.
it.
Who's pulling?
I'll pull. I will pull.
First card pull of the day.
Okay.
I don't know. We've been mixing it up a little bit. We've
Yeah.
been going in with our.
And I ordered the cards so that I don't get yelled at because they're.
Do we have
What do you mean you ordered?
No.
You want to fight with me about the cards? We could fight right now. She vends my cards.
Oh, I like this. I like this for all of us.
Lord.
What do I want to learn more about in this chapter of my life? What do I want to learn more about in this chapter of my life?
Myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what way? Or like maybe one thing about yourself that you want to explore further.
Like, what do I really want my life to be? I think I'm coming up to this like really pivotal like time in my life where decisions have to be made about people, about career, about it's like we talked about last week about the growing up versus maturing, like getting older and maturing. I think I'm really starting to dive into like
Every decision.
what do I like? Yeah, every decision is like pivotal. Like, is this really what I want? Is this serving me? Is this making me happy? Like I said, these relationships that I've been like putting the 3 blind mice on for 6 years, like let's look at it for what it is. I think I'm just really getting more clear on like what I want my life to be because I don't want to wake up 7 years from now and not have done that.
Yeah.
So I really want to get clear on like what my my life.
I think that's important because I don't know, we talked about it a few episodes ago, but a lot of people know what they don't want, but few people can actually articulate what it is they do want. It's because we don't ever spend time thinking about it, talking about it, writing it down. We just assume we know ourselves so well, but really, when you peel back the layers, like it's like, what do you enjoy doing when you're alone? You know what I mean? Like, how do you enjoy spending your days? Like, what matters the most to you? And also, I was reading, there was a book, I was listening to an audio book this weekend on the drive here, and it said, gosh, where was I going with this? He was saying, oh, tell me what you love. And if you can't tell me what you love, show me your schedule and I'll tell you what you prioritize and what you love based on your schedule. And I was like, and it made me think, like, am I living every single day the life that I want to create for myself later? And I can't say in some cases yes, but there's definitely sometimes when I'm like, this is a problem for another day, or this is a thing for another day. Like, there's definitely stuff that I like put to the side. But yeah, I think a lot of people know what they don't want, but knowing what you do want and knowing yourself is actually so much harder than it sounds.
It is.
And I feel like also having a safe space to share that, because I will say, our group chat, like, very affirming. We start off the week with like a prayer. One of us is kicking off the good morning. I don't know, whoever's vibrations is low, pick it up because you're about to get a voice note. But also more so to your point of knowing, right? So like a lot of what we express in our chat has to do with, I want to do this, or, you know, that like, this is the focus XYZ. And a lot of it has to do with doing things that like really resonate with us wholeheartedly, and the things that we really have wanted to tap into and are now tapping into, you know? So being really fearless, but having a safe space to share that, getting it out. And that's one thing. I think it's also having people that can hold you accountable to those things. So to make sure that that's what you want to explore this chapter of your life.
This is not in alignment with what you said you wanted, Alyssa, or this decision isn't, you know. And it's okay. We don't, like, you know, castrate each other if we make a mistake. But it's important.
It'll be like confession.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, recently you were saying, you were like, yeah, I think I'm going to take on a job to be a bartender. And I was like, okay. Didn't you just quit your second job? You did. Oh, okay. And you quit it. Why? Because you wanted to focus on your passions. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't say anything else. I just said, oh, okay.
Like,
just asking questions. You're allowed to change your mind.
We
but,
will.
you know.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
We do.
But it's just a reminder, because sometimes we forget ourselves. Like, so much goes on in your head. And another thing I just want to say is write it down. Like, get it out of your mind and put it on paper. Like, it's so much more easy. First of all, that was a terrible sentence. It's much easier to organize your thoughts, to organize your, like, when you get it out of your head and put it on paper, it just do it. That's all I can say.
Gives you clarity. And also,
it's just so much better.
I posted that. I posted on my story for anyone who follows me recently. The year was January. It was January 2019, and I just left my job. I was moving out of Buffalo to Nashville. I quite literally had no idea what I was doing, but I'm in Montreal now, Canada. I'm trying to take a break, like a mental break for myself, and I'm getting ready for this like huge transition. And something was telling me, like, I knew I wanted to work for myself then, but I had no, mind you, I accepted another offer at another company all the way in Nashville, but I'm writing down my mission statement because words were coming to me. So I wrote it down and I came across it the other day, and that's not my mission statement. I don't even have that as like, I don't have a website, but it was just like the idea of like I was always like, there was always something in me that was like, I was going to work for myself. And so every idea that I got, even still to this day, like I'll go back and I'll see ideas for like HHG or other, you know what I mean? It's just like, write it down, because you never know when you're going to come back to it. But when you keep all these thoughts in your head, like you get overwhelmed really easy, you know?
And you're just, it's easy to forget or get spaced out.
So easy to forget. Even because I think they also resurface, they come back at a time when you're like, oh my God, I wrote that down. Or you're looking for something and you're like, wait. And, you know, there is a reason why. I definitely.
It was like I was sowing seeds, but I had no idea what was coming or when it was going to come or how it was going to happen. Like at that point, I was like, how do you get clients? Like, you know what I mean? I had no clue it was to come a year and a half later, that would come from me, you know, literally if you just wait until October 2020, you'll get the answers you need, right?
Something just clicked. Just the moment you write it down, it's you affirming that you received the message. Mm-hmm. That just came to me, so I'm gonna leave you out with that. I love that. I don't want to ask another question.
No, I think this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. Happy to be back.
Yes, episode 8. Remember to like, follow, subscribe,
please
share.
Hold on, please hit the download button. If you are not automatically getting our episodes to your phone, please hit that follow button. Please hit like. Please hit share. Send it to someone else who wants to follow, but please follow, because we're gonna have some special stuff for y'all.
You want to download. You want to wake up. I mean, who doesn't want to wake up on Wednesday morning
and have HHG
ready to go,
on your
already
phone.
loaded?
Please download.
Yes.
So
we'll
see
catch you guys
next
week.
week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye.